that clear before he was going to go to be with the Father in heaven. Prior to his crucifixion, prior to his resurrection, he needs to comfort his disciples with the thought that he is going to go to be with the Father and they're going to be left. And he uses these fantastic words. I will ask the Father and he will give you another counselor to be with you forever, the Spirit of truth. I will not leave you orphans. I will come to you. That's a wonderful promise there. It's saying, Jesus is saying, I've been your counselor or your helper, the one who's been alongside you, but I'm going to send another. And that word another in the Greek means another like me, but separate from me. I'm feeling a little bit rich this morning. I've got two £20 notes. I know, amazing. Now, I can assure you that these two £20 notes are different, but they are identical. If I was to go into a restaurant with this £20 note, it would do just the same as if I went and paid with this £20 note. Agreed? Why? Because although they're two different notes, they are absolutely identical in worth, in value, in every way. And what Jesus is saying is something absolutely wonderful. He's saying, disciples, don't worry. I've got to go to heaven to be with the Father. But don't worry, I'm going to send another, different from me, but just like me. And he's going to come and represent me perfectly. What I would do if I were here physically present with you, now the Holy Spirit is going to do. Now, you know, that was incredibly good news for the disciples. Because they had seen Jesus miraculously feed 5,000. He'd walked on water. He'd raised the dead. He'd cleansed the lepers. He'd healed the sick. He'd totally transformed their lives. He was the most remarkable person who ever lived on planet Earth. And he's saying to his disciples, don't worry. I am now with you physically, but when the Spirit comes, I can be with you wherever you go, because I'm sending another counselor to represent me. That's a glorious promise. And that's not just a promise, that's not just a promise for the disciples. It's a promise for us today. We can know that now, because of Pentecost, God's Spirit is on the earth. In one sense, we don't need to call him down because he's come. We don't have to wait 10 days. We can receive him now. He's God who is everywhere present all of the time. So if we look up and God has come down, what do we need to do? Number 3, we need to receive him in to our lives. You see, it's tragedy to have God sort of outside and not changing us on the inside. You see, although the Holy Spirit is powerful, he waits to be invited in and welcomed. Jesus put it this way: if anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. In other words, you've got to have a thirst or a desire for God to come and change you. Question is, why would we want to do that? If you dared invite the Holy Spirit into your life, what would he do? Well, the answer is only good.